Elon Musk's involvement right now in government is a bit much.
Dude,
right?
have you seen his nonsense with the H-1B thing that's getting him so much hate right now? No. It was like I said this, saying not you have to be a fucking genius, you have to be not retarded to see that like he was going to import a jillion Indians, and he's trying to frame it as though like, oh, Americans, they don't, and Ramaswamy is doing the same thing where he's like, oh, we in America, they reward mediocrity. And so it's important that we get foreigners to come in and do these jobs that Americans won't do. And it's like, get fucked. Really? What was our immigration level when we landed on the moon? When we discovered nuclear technology?
America First didn't even last to the first day of the term. Right?
Not even
it
close.
Ended before it even started. Now they want to bring in H1. So if people don't know, an H-1B visa, it's a special kind of visa to bring in like highly skilled employees for when those skills don't exist in America already. That's the thing, right? So you can't find Americans to fill these jobs. You bring in H-1Bs. What it actually is a way to bring in people from other countries, usually tech employees, and when they can only stay in this country for as long as they maintain that job, which means they're often underpaid because they don't get the benefit of like supply and demand. Instead, you have to work for this company, and if you lose this job, then you get deported. That's how an H-1B visa works, which means they can't like, but what raise do they want? No one gives a fuck what raise you wish you had. You'll take 0 and you'll suck my dick with the thumb up the ass because I'm into that. And that's your negotiation position. That's all you can do, because if you don't take 0, you get deported out of this country. This life that you built for yourself, it's over. And it drives the wages down of the entire tech sector because you have this influx of employees who don't have the same negotiating position as everyone else. And then now my negotiating position is, why would you hire me when you could hire this guy over here who is forced as an indentured servant of sorts to take this job? That's how H-1B visas work.
Yes. Woody, I love when we line up on things. It's so great. You are 1,000,000,000% right. That is exactly what it is. And it is a bunch of tech bros.
Let's
like
talk about
Elon
January
Musk.
6th.
It's a bunch of tech bros like Elon Musk masquerading as though, oh, we can't find the skills needed in the US to do this. No, and then you have retards being like, is it crazy that everyone who hires people in the tech sector is in favor of this, and it's only the peons who are against it? And it's like, no, bitch. What it really clearly elucidates is that the people who stand to gain financially by paying people less are all in favor of this borderline slave class, and all the normal Americans who are not standing to financially gain from this importation of a jillion Indians are immediately against it.
At borderline slave class, I got a chub. I just want to put that out there. It was really good phrasing, but that's the problem. Like I'm not intuitively against bringing in bright minds from other countries. We simultaneously drain their, human resources while boosting our own. But doing it in this like massive way and putting them at a huge negotiation disadvantage when it comes to salaries, just it fucks up the whole labor market in the sector that we have them. And
and it's also this lie that people like Elon Musk and Ramaswamy tell, where it's like, oh, we're bringing in the best and brightest. It's like, no, most H-1B visa holders are working entry and mid-level jobs, and they are undercutting the wages of Americans. And it is a lie that they are banking on you not understanding. And so this is exactly what I said pre-election I was worried about with Ramaswamy and Elon, which is that their true goal is to lower their wages with this infinite immigration from India, where they have this class that they can say, you'll take this money or you can fuck yourself and go back to New Delhi. And how does that impact normal Americans? It's bad for us. It's actually bad to take these jobs that should be going at a higher rate to American citizens and giving it to a foreigner. And so I've loved seeing this enormous pushback on Elon and Vivek and all these fucking cunts trying to push this shit.
And it frustrates. I don't know. They're all America first, except for when Elon's own pocket is involved.
Yep.
And then it's Elon first and Vivek Ramaswamy too. So we'll see where this goes. I'm looking forward to Trump starting. I'm like, enough already. I want to see how this experiment goes. I'm done waiting, right? Like, I don't know what Biden's doing, fucking making sure that murderers don't die or like whatever. I'm done with that one. Let's see the next one that's getting boring.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip.
And we'll see. The only thing I'm 100% sure about Trump's presidency is that H-1B visas will increase and Israel will get everything they want and more.
Ooh, I don't disagree with either of those. If H-1B visas increase, I do think that the Democrats have successfully pushed a narrative of this whole President Musk thing, Vice President Trump, in a way that could get under his skin that makes him assert himself. We'll see.
Not. I hope not, because I think that Elon can be an incredibly important partner for Trump if he's able to temper some of the negative thoughts that Elon has, like you two just elucidated, but at the same time to take advantage of all the strength that he provides, and more than anything as a whip, to get the party in line on voting measures where they maybe normally wouldn't. And I don't like it, but I bet it'll work. Like I hate the idea that this South African-born billionaire is like, you better get behind the MAGA crowd, or maybe next year I give $100 million to your opponent. $100 million in my race? I raised 17 million last time. Exactly. It'd be like 5 times as much, more even. It's easy math.
Dude, they better entice middle Americans to vote in 2026, or Elon and Vivek are the kind of guys who are going to go to jail when Democrats win again and they say, you're fucked. And there's no Republicans behind them, because it turns out actually that normal Republican voters are not in favor of a billion trillion Indians coming here. Turns out we're not in favor of that. We don't like that. We want these jobs going to actual Americans. And so we'll see what happens.
We have that's happened with us in houses. Like, we have a lot of people that came here, like 500,000 immigrants. And, you know, I'm okay with that. So many people I know come from immigrant families here, but that amount, there's an amount. And like, I feel like Canada's going through it and has been going through it. Houses are so expensive. Cities in Canada are like, to live are way more expensive than cities in the US, and our salaries are way lower because of the dollar. So it's all broken and fucked up. And it's really just, we have so many people that need houses, so many people that own houses that don't live in this country. Like, we have people that are like born and raised in China that probably maybe even never set foot in Canada, and they own like a huge condo building.
And so a huge part of it is that both the US and Canada have been importing millions of people for years.
So many,
and they've been doing this shit where
so many people,
these large capital firms, whether it's Musk owned, he's a big,
that's so weird
contributor to this, where weird. They bring them in, they pay them less than market wages for any American. And then that same person also, because of our new laws, qualifies for benefits as an illegal. And so they're just totally doing that shit where they're privatizing all the profits by paying less for their wage force, and then socializing the costs across all the people who don't work in their industry. Who pays for the housing vouchers for that person who's now working and living 9 people to an apartment in Toronto? It's people who live in Toronto who pay for that. It's not those big fucking tech firms. It's absurd what we are asking young people to live in right now. It's an absurd situation, and there is too much of a blasé dismissal of it. Of, oh, it was tough for me too as a kid, and it's like, no, that's not what's happening. These people have skills to get into fields, and they are passed over for H-1B visa workers who will do it for a slave wage. And then what happens? Does that H-1B visa worker use all that money here in the US? Or do we see through stats that a large majority, or not, a large percentage rather, of that gets sent back in remittances, which we're losing that money now? You know, whether it's an illegal, cutting a yard, or it's an Indian working at Twitter, huge amount of remittances. That's a negative. And then you also have the fact that like now we have like born and bred Americans who cannot get jobs in fields they are totally qualified to enter, but can't.
Expand on what you said. Sending money back home is part of the Indian culture. And like, I kind of see the morality in it. Like, that your parents raised you. Now you're in America. Now you're making money. Like, I can see why they would feel like that's the right thing to do. But as an American giving you this opportunity, it feels bad for you not to be putting that money back in our economy where you earned it, to just send it home to India. It's like, right. It's a reminder that like we're not on the same team.
Yeah. And it makes me feel as an American that a lot of these people showing up don't want to be Americans. They don't see us as our own independent country. They see us as an economy or a resource to be
Why not
used.
make it harder to send the money back home then? And why not tax?
I said this
$dollar?
like a month ago, 100% tax on remittances.
That just takes it all.
100%. Yeah. Any sort of remittance you try to send back, sorry, bitch, you can't do that. You're supposed to be American
No, we
now.
should it should be different for different countries.
The thing I just wanted to get out there is usually the next generation, they're the Americans. Like the people who move here from Italy are Italians till they die, but the kids are Americans, and that's the good news.
We'll see if this whole little experiment plays out. Doesn't seem to be. But maybe it'll change.
I do feel like a lot of these guys that voted for Trump because they were tired of these billionaires that ran the show. I'm like, are you watching? Are you watching? Okay, let's see how this
the reason
works
a
out.
lot of us, like I said this months ago, like I knew that Vivek and Elon and these guys were going to be H-1B visa bitches who were all in favor of that. And so we had a choice between Trump, who is infinite H-1B visas from India, stapling green cards to the diplomas, as he said, or you would have the Democrats, who is also that, and then also infinite immigration illegally from the South. And so I picked this side that was less bad, but yeah, this is totally anticipated if you've been paying attention.
Side.
I mean, the funny side, well, you didn't pick any side. You can't vote.
Not allowed.
Emotionally, he did.
I voted twice for you, but we can't say that publicly.
Well,
I mailed it into Atlanta. I get indicted for a joke.
Rough.